Now, it seems like a lot of our NFT community is actually based in the US. Yes, that's a massive proportion of the community right now, but it's growing in different parts of the world. I want to bring to you today an amazing project that is really focusing on Asian culture. How do you bring that to life in the NFT space, from mint to community building and that ongoing momentum? Well, I've spoken to the right person who can tell me and you guys exactly how it's done. Right, guys, joining me now is Katie, who is one of the co-founders of Zodiac Friends, which is an NFT project that celebrates Asian culture and also helps to support emerging artists in the space. I'm going to start by just asking how you got into the NFT space.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. So I guess I can go into how I first got into NFTs, and that kind of ties in with why I started this project as well. So Shang and I were the co-founders of Zodiac Friends, and we actually met on the set of Shang-Chi, the latest Marvel movie, the first Asian superhero, which is super, super exciting, and it was filmed in Sydney. So Shang was the one that first got into NFTs because he was inspired by Gary Vee. The movie was an amazing experience, and it meant a lot to us as Asians living in Australia, because we haven't grown up watching Asian superheroes. Like, there wasn't much Asian representation in media. So to be surrounded by other Asians on set and working on this was just incredible. And yeah, it really, really meant so much.
What were you and Shane doing on Shang-Chi? What was your role?
So I was a background extra. Yeah. So when you watch the movie, like, I know who, like, I can spot myself, but like no one else can because the face is blurred, but I know what I look like. And Shang was the martial arts extra. So he was doing like a bit more of the martial arts stuff, and he was more featured on there, which is exciting. So we finished filming. So me, Shang, and another person from set actually met up for lunch. And this person, so he is an artist, and he's amazing. So he's worked for like McDonald's, he's worked for book covers for a bunch of publishers, and he would always be sketching on set because we weren't allowed to bring our phones on set. So I would just kind of follow him around and go, oh, what are you sketching? Like, what are you drawing? Which was really, really fun. And then when we were having like lunch, we're talking about like how significant this whole experience was for all creatives and all Asians, all aspiring artists in the media, right? So we're talking about this, and Shang brought up NFTs. It was like, oh, look what I bought recently, and it was like one of his V friends. So we started talking about it, and then discussing the lack of Asian representation in media overall, and also the NFT space. So I was very interested in NFTs because I come from a finance background and also creative background, like doing extras, or like participating in movies and like a bit of modeling. So this was right up my alley. So I started looking into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so crazy to like get more Asian representation in here. Us three, we kind of started Zodiac Friends, and we thought, okay, why don't we do something really fun that represents our culture? And Zodiac Friends was born because a lot of Asians celebrate, they identify with the zodiac animal, the lunar animals. So I grew up as a tiger, and Shang and Egg Chen, the artist, are the year of the rat. So we created something that everyone can kind of identify with. We created all these cultural outfits, all these cultural items, which is really super exciting. So that's how Zodiac Friends started.
That's amazing. I love that. I mean, I know outside of my world of NFTs, I'm a film critic. So I know that Shang-Chi, the significance. Yeah. So I've done that with the BBC for the last 5 years, and it's been a huge passion of mine. And actually, I didn't get to cover Shang-Chi, but I know just how significant that was. And I was so pleased to see it do so well at the box office. So it was, it was fantastic to kind of start celebrating Asian culture in that way. And now bringing us into the world of tech, you're pushing the boundaries again by doing that. Did you see much Asian representation in any way, shape, or form in the NFT space? Or is it something you felt that you could really drive as the first person to market with it?
In terms of projects, I personally didn't see any Asian-focused projects. So I saw maybe Asian style of art or things that maybe referenced Asian elements here and there, but the focus wasn't quite Asian representation or culture. And we did see a lot of Asian artists, really, really cool Asian artists in this space, like the individual, like one-of-one artists, but they weren't, I guess, getting the hype that we thought they deserved if they were, mainstream artists. We thought, okay, maybe it's the language barrier, or maybe it's just the way that they're marketing things. they're just not getting the exposure that we really thought they deserve, because there are amazing artists out there, especially in like Thailand. They have crazy artists. So we thought, oh, okay, we'd love to do something that really highlights them and get them the attention that they deserve.
That's it. I suppose that's in terms of other projects. But when I first reached out to you guys, I jumped on your Discord and it was buzzing. And this is pre-mint. And there were so many, like the vibe was amazing. Like everyone was like so excited to celebrate Asian culture. And it was brilliant. And it was just, it was like nonstop. How easy or how hard was it for you to start building that community, and what were the first steps that you took, and were you surprised at the uptake?
I think one of the big challenges was the fact that the NFT space is very, very anonymous, and you don't really know who's Asian and who's not, right? Everyone's just hidden behind their profile pictures. But we kind of just pushed with our brand. So we just went, oh, this is the first Asian project. And this is not just for Asians, but anyone who celebrates diversity, people who celebrates Asian and appreciates our culture. It was surprising because we didn't really know how much of Asia was involved, because I think NFT market is mostly buzzing in the US, right?
Yeah.
Like we were really very pleased to have this community grow, and not only have just Asians, but a lot of people who go, yeah, like I'm not from Asia, or like I'm not Asian, but I love Asia and I love your culture. I love your food. So we loved having those kind of people join us, because as much as it meant a lot to have Asians in our Discord, it also meant a lot that we had other people who appreciated our culture. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. And actually, one of the big things that I noticed whilst I was sort of jumping in was that the Discord was really brilliantly run. I think sometimes you can get kind of a mixed bag of sentiments on a Discord, but actually everyone was so encouraging and exciting and willing to help. And, the moment you jump back on, and I recently jumped back on your Discord again, and immediately people were reaching out going, hey, Nifty World, welcome back. So great to see you. And actually that's something that I always associate with Asian culture, is everyone is always so welcoming, and it kind of continues that vibe into there. So that's fantastic. When did you mint your project?
So we minted our project officially mid-September.
Mid-September, yeah. And it's a collection of 8,888 NFTs.
Yeah.
And what was the mint price?
It was at 0.07.
0.07. So a nice affordable price. And you kind of got that really good influence from the community on Discord and Twitter. You've got about 2,500 followers on Twitter, maybe a little bit more. But everything kind of is all sort of working. So were you expecting, I mean, everyone's dream is to sell out, and that isn't always the case. It's, I think it's actually more few and far between when that happens, but those projects just get a lot of attention when they do. Now, as a project, I know you guys didn't sell out and you're still working through the mint, which is fine. And I actually think a slow and steady mint is actually a really good thing for a project, because it just allows people to not rush, get caught up in the gas wars, all that kind of stuff. How are you finding post mint and keeping that momentum going? How's that working for you?
I think obviously our like goal was to mint out, but so I think when we first started, we weren't expecting like the kind of sellout that sells out in 10 minutes with like crazy gas wars or anything like that. But we were like, you know what, even if it doesn't sell out in like one day or like 10 minutes, we're going to keep working at our thing. Like every milestone like that we reach in our roadmap, we're just going to execute that and show them what we're trying to do, and really show those changes and deliver those to our community, so that they can see what's happening and then join us, because there's room for everyone.
Some of your community members have reached out on Twitter, and they've kind of got some questions to ask. And one of them is kind of, how do you stay on track with all of that, with everything that's going on? And how do you stay on track to keep delivering your roadmap? Because it's really important for the community that you do and that you keep executing. I think everyone kind of has these big dreams of it suddenly just going like that and it's gone. And then you can start working on the secondary sales and all that kind of stuff. But actually for you guys, I think it will be interesting to sort of see how you're finding it, like, the motivation, because sometimes, let's be honest about that, sometimes it's a little bit disheartening if something doesn't quite sell out. But how do you keep that vibe going? How do you keep it kind of positive?
I think when we start to execute all these things and we see how the community is reacting, and like we see the change that we're making, it's something that just keeps us really, really motivated. So for example, one of the things that we did was invest into 25 different artists early on when we first launched, and a lot of these were like first sales for a lot of them. And every time we bought from them, like the community would be like, oh, congratulations to the artist. Like your art's amazing. Like, how have I not seen your art before? And the artist community would celebrate and our community would celebrate. And that was just amazing, amazing to see. So we're like, this was our goal. Like our goal is not to be like that hype project that everyone just flips. Like our goal is to like, we set out this roadmap with very clear intentions to help certain people and benefit our holders. So when we saw that these were coming to action, we saw the impacts it was having, we're like, yep, this is what we were planning on doing. This is happening. We're seeing all these changes. Like we're making amazing, amazing progress. So I think seeing those changes is what kept us going. And on the charity front, so we've been in contact with Fund Life, which is charity based in Philippines, and we're supporting 4 different programs, which is super, super exciting. So the first one is kind of their main program where they integrate like play-based learning into their education and studies so that the kids are encouraged to stay in school. They get educated because with COVID in the past year, apparently the schools have not been open for more than a year, and it's been really, really difficult for the kids to get back into education and be engaged in that aspect. So that's super important. And the second project is called Girls Got This, which is pretty much the same thing, but it's more focused on girls because they really want to make sure that the girls kind of stay in school, especially in the vulnerable kind of environment that they are in. The third one is a youth-centric apparel. So they employ like women and those who are really struggling to find jobs in creating all these clothes, and they're ethically sourced, and it's fashion. So it's just really exciting for everyone. And the last one is actually called Zodiac Friends partnership program. So this is a program that we're kind of partnering with. It's new, and because the founder is very interested in NFTs and the crypto market as well, this is a program where we bring on aspiring youth creatives in the Philippines to the NFT space, actually, because we've seen how amazing the NFT space is with all the support that you get, all the advice that they give to each other, all the support that the artists and the collectors give to the creators. So it would be super fun to see how these people who may not have any idea about what NFTs are to be able to create art and actually put it out there for people to purchase. So we're really excited about that, and we plan to be very involved in that aspect and just jump on calls and educate them about what NFTs are all about to make sure that they have a really good onboarding into this space.
Oh, that's amazing. And actually circling back to kind of talking about these emerging artists, I mean, that's great you've got that charity angle, but then actually when it comes to, does the community then, are they able to then, like, what you're doing is essentially giving exposure to these amazing artists as well, which is quite incredible. Mm-hmm. And actually about the charity angle, so you're working with a charity in the Philippines, is that right? So that's something that's obviously piqued my attention and was my interest. Sometimes when I've spoken and interviewed certain projects in the past, I have found that they have said that it's actually quite difficult with the smart contract and actually delivering that money to the charities, like because it's in Ethereum or whatever. How have you found that process? Has it been okay to get them the cash donations?
Yeah, so the way that we're delivering the cash is through, so they have a platform called Give to Asia, and they actually have a cryptocurrency donation system, wow. Which is super awesome. Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty convenient, and it worked out really well. And the founder of the charity that we're donating to is actually quite sharp with crypto, which we did not know until we had our first call. And we went, oh, you're into cryptos and you're interested in NFTs as well. So that was very smooth, and we didn't have to do a whole explanation of like this is what NFT is and like trying to get them to understand. Yeah. So it was super cool. So yeah, that donation itself wasn't too difficult to juggle around.
No, that's good to know. Yeah, because I do think that some people have struggled with that, and they're like, I just want to give away what we've offered to give. We can't do it. So let's just talk about some key points in your roadmap. Sure. We talked generally about you give away to emerging artists and supporting emerging artists, but also giving away to charity. So can you just kind of expand a little bit on that? Maybe highlight some of the artists that you've focused on and things like that?
Sure. So our official Zodiac Friend Artist Fund opens at 30% mint, but 30% of mint sales. But we went, okay, now why don't we just like get started a bit early and start investing in some of these artists. So we've searched through Twitter, like searching through hashtags like NFT Asia, or like Asian artists. So what we did in the first 20 days was we bought from one of these artists one a day, and we gave them away to our holders through a random raffle. And by doing that, it kind of drew the attention to the art itself. So they'll go, oh, what's the artist of the day today? And then they'll check them out. And then we've had some of our holders buy from the artists that we bought from too, because they went, oh, the artist that you bought from was actually really cool. And then they went and bought from them, which was super cool and very, very encouraging.
That's amazing. Yeah, because what you're doing is you're giving exposure to these these two other like-minded people, which I think is a really, for smaller artists out there, I think that's so valuable for them. That's just something that they probably have never got in the real world, but through your ability and also your following and your community, you're able to highlight that for them. That's incredible. And have they then joined in as part of the community and felt like, have you carried on these conversations with these emerging artists just to keep supporting them?
Yes. And we have a share your art section in our Discord as well. So like they share their art and we go, oh, like that's amazing. And we just keep encouraging them and just give them the support that they need. And like we retweet their work on Twitter and just comment on their things. So, like it's more than just buy and then, we're gone, like we did our thing, goodbye. We want to, maintain that relationship like throughout the entire project.
What happens with that art in the long term for the community? How does that kind of get fractionalized? What happens? What's the plan with the art that you buy?
So the 20-day art giveaway we did, we gave them away to our holders, but with the art that we purchased through the Zodiac Friend Fund. So what we will be doing is we purchase these art because they're obviously like hugely undervalued. So we'll be buying them and then we'll be like marketing them. Hey, check this artist out. Like they're amazing. And obviously we'll be buying from the artists that we really believe in. And later when we set up another item in our roadmap is to set up a Metaverse. And in this Metaverse, we'll be setting up an art gallery where we display all these art that we purchased. And eventually when after all this exposure and all this highlighting and then the artists growth, we'll be selling them back and then using the profits to somehow give back to our holders in really meaningful ways.
You say you're setting up a metaverse. Are you buying land in an already existing metaverse, or are you going to create a new metaverse? How's that going to work?
We'll be buying land in an existing metaverse. So for example, like Sandbox or Decentraland.
Good. I was like, wow, guys, when will you ever sleep if you're going to create your own metaverse? That's crazy. That's a really good idea. And I think, things now with obviously the announcement from Facebook now, Meta, the investment there, all eyes will be on the metaverse. And I think it's a really solid play for you guys to think about buying land. You probably want to do it sooner rather than later to be able to get in there before those prices shoot right up. But that's amazing. So an art gallery there. I think again, like having that hub in the metaverse where Asian communities can come in and can like socialize and be part of celebrating that culture is amazing. Because obviously, I think to some extent, the metaverse concept started with Asian culture, like Second Life, for instance. That was years ago. That was so driven by the Asian side, the Asian kind of gaming and side of things. It seems like a natural kind of full circle to come back into the metaverse for you guys. That's amazing. What do you think? Like, obviously, we've taken this slow and steady approach, and I think, that's no bad thing. What does the future hold for Zodiac Friends? Where are we seeing this project go in the next 5 years, say?
So we want to really, really grow a community and continue supporting these artists, continue supporting these charities. And when we build the metaverse, we do want to build like an Asia town where we hold like different events and like have it to be the go-to Asia town, I guess, in the metaverse. And like we want to continue so one of the things that we're planning on doing is setting up a program that kind of brings in artists outside of the NFT space into the NFT space as well. So there's just so much that we can work with in the future outside of our current roadmap as well. So we're continuously like taking suggestions from the community while working through our project, like our program, while working through our roadmap. So in the really long term, we want to be the go-to Asian project. We want to highlight and celebrate Asian culture, and not just Asian culture, but just everyone, like every culture, celebrate diversity, celebrate artists, support emerging artists, and things like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And listen, I wish you all the very best of luck with it. I think it's an incredible project. My last question to you is actually, what advice would you give to any new creators or projects in the space? Because your journey has not come from a development background. You literally met some friends on a film set and went, hey, let's create an NFT project. So you must have learned so much. And there's going to be tons of people out there going, I'm in that same position. I just want to get into NFTs. What would you advise?
Sorry, do you mean as founders or just, I guess,
I suppose as founders, yeah, because you guys have jumped in. But if you've got like, if you've kind of come into this as a collector first, then obviously speak about that as well.
For founders, I would say I think it's important to set up a project, not for the sake of setting up a project, but to achieve something that you have passion in, right? So for example, like when we set up this, it wasn't let's do a project and figure out what we're going to do. It was like we want to do something for the Asian culture. We want to do something that supports artists. We want to do something that celebrates our culture and diversity. And that's how we kind of came into creating this project. So throughout like executing roadmaps, I think it's really important that you have that kind of mindset, because when you do these things, you go, I'm doing this because this was my goal from the first place. Like donating to charities, it's not just to, donate to charity and then just put up a screenshot of the donation and just move on. It's because we wanted to do this in the first place. This was our initial goal. And everything you do according to your roadmap is just really meaningful for you and the community. And I think it's really important to be genuine about the project that you're creating.
Yeah.
So absolutely. That would be my biggest advice.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's about the integrity of the project as well, is sticking by your guns and telling, and saying we're doing this for the community because it's important to us, not just important to make money from this project. It's about something that you believe in. And I think, having had such a strong kind of step to wanting to move into this space to celebrate Asian culture, that's exactly why, you guys are going to be in this for the long haul. I have to ask very quickly, has anyone actually seen you in real life before? Have you been hiding behind an avatar? Is this the first time anyone's gonna see you as the project, one of the project leads?
No, so we actually released a video recently about Fun Life where the team members just said thank you on camera, and I kind of I was in the video just explaining the programs that were associated with the charity program. So this would be the second time actually having my face on video.
Oh, well, brilliant. Well, listen, I just think for me, I think it's so important with projects that they do show their faces. And what we don't want to do is say, oh, we're an Asian-led project, and then you guys aren't Asian. And that would be really weird. So it's really good to kind of give that clarity for the community and also for everyone else who's wanting to find out more about Zodiac Friends. So Katie, thank you so much for today. It's been so lovely talking to you. I really appreciate your time, and continue doing what you're doing. There's a huge Asian culture out there and community, and they're all going to be supporting you, I'm sure. So thank you so much for joining us on Nifty World. Well, huge thanks to Kate for taking me through that incredible journey where they've really thought about bringing something different and close to their hearts in the NFT space. If you want to find more information on how to build a strong community, then these videos are really going to help you out, and I hope you find them super useful and you'll join us again next time.